repattern the brain from physical and emotional trauma. And I use stem cell activation as a tool to help people repair, restore, and regenerate their bodies to a younger, healthier state. So I want to thank you for being at this presentation here in Los Angeles today, having to do with how to boost your energy organically and how to detox. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Some of you have already been patched for this presentation, so let's go on to the next. Okay. So today we're going to explore a comprehensive approach to detoxing organically and holistically. Like I mentioned before, I just use stem cell activation patches as a means by which to do that, and we're going to talk more specifically about that a little bit later in the presentation, but I want to give you kind of a more eagle-eye view with specific instructions to different things that you can start to apply as soon as you get home tonight. You'll be able to apply these things and start to receive the benefits, okay? Let's see, what else are we going to talk about here? We're going to embark on a journey to uncover hidden toxins, because as I am speaking to you here right now, there are hidden toxins that you are completely unaware that are actually very detrimental to your well-being. We really don't pay attention to our light environment, and yet we are light beings, not just from an ooey, airy-fairy spiritual perspective, but from a very scientifically based perspective. And we are infrared light beings. If you look at the 56 trillion cells that we have in our body, of those 56 trillion cells, every single cell and every single molecule inside the body has electrons. Furthermore, your blood and your cerebral spinal fluid that travels from your head, it coats, your brain is like floating in the cerebral spinal fluid, goes down your spinal cord. That has electrolytes, electrons. And electrolytes are packets of electricity. And electricity is really, the electrons and the electrolytes are packets of electricity that have not only information, but also very valuable nutrients, not just from the food that you eat, which is really your environment that you're consuming, unless you eat man-made food, right? And also from your light environment. So we're going to talk a lot about the light environment, because it's something that we don't talk about on a general basis, which is why I'm highlighting it to people, because it's so critical and you're exposed to it every single day. So we're going to be talking about the toxic effects of artificial light and the importance of hydration and exercise. If you take nothing away from this presentation today, please be aware that one of the most important things that you can do just for general wellness and overall well-being is hydration. When you were born, you come out of your mother's womb where you were literally in an amniotic sac. You were literally breathing and exhaling, and you were permeated with water inside and out your body. You come out of your mother's womb and you're over 80% water when you're a baby. Fast forward to someone who is 67 years old or older, and you're about 50 to 60% water. Yet, from the time you were conceived, as soon as your mother's ovum united with your father's sperm, at conception, you had 23,688 genes and stem cells that had all of the information to then form you and grow you into a little embryo that 6 to 8 weeks later we could evidence through an ultrasound, and we could see that little heartbeat beating, right? Depending on whether it's a boy or it's a girl, it's 130, 140, 150 beats per minute, right? Fast forward to 36 to 40 weeks, and now you have a fully grown fetus, right? And that little grown fetus then is a newborn baby. We've all taken a few trips around the sun, and now we're here in Los Angeles at this presentation, right? So at the age of 30, 50% of your original stem cells turn off. So back to the importance of hydration. At conception, when the mother's ovum united with the father's sperm, guess what? You had complete information, and your DNA was 92, not only was, but is and will continue to be 92% water. So water is the primary structure that holds up tall, stable, strong, and erect. It's the water that holds up that DNA so that you see a beautiful helix formation. I'm going to be showing some pictures and some slides here of some DNA so that you actually see what a hydrated individual who drinks 50% their weight in fluid ounces of water a day, what their DNA looks like, and then someone who's 8% dehydrated. And I think you'll be quite alarmed to see what the evidence shows. So let's get back to the water. 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. So let's say it's somebody who's 150 pounds, man or woman, doesn't matter. You take 150 divided by 2, that's 75. That means that you need to drink 75 ounces of water from the time you wake up in the morning until you go to sleep. So what does that look like? Well, 75 ounces of water is about 5, if you have like a Sparklets, Arrowhead, or Aquafina bottle, those are usually about 15.9 ounces. That's 5 of those a day. Very manageable, very easy for you to do. So 1 bottle when you first wake up, another bottle later in the morning, 1 early afternoon, 1 late afternoon, and then 1 right before you go to bed. And then you will have taken care of your minimum requirement to just maintain your body, okay? When you become dehydrated, guess what? All sorts of things start to shrink inside of your body. The first one is your brain. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later. So I will close the loop and put the pause button on the water. Just know that if you do nothing else for the remainder of the day, drink strawberry juice. No, water. Don't drink strawberry juice. There's a lot of pesticides in strawberries. Drink water. Coconut water, phenomenal. In the field, as a medic, the first job I ever had was as a paramedic. I happened to be very eager and overzealous to get my hands on patients. So when I was in high school, I went to paramedic school and graduated from that before I graduated from high school. So I was working for a private ambulance company and the ER. And oftentimes with the private ambulance company, it was whatever special events off location.
Blood plasma.
Sorry?
Blood plasma.
Yeah. So getting back to the coconut water. Coconut water is so good for you, it's as good as water because it is a natural electrolyte. There's a little bit of minerals in there, but we can actually, if somebody is bleeding out, we can actually put coconut water into your bloodstream. We can't do that with tap water. It would not be a good idea because there's a lot of garbage that doesn't belong in your body that's in regular tap water. But we can do that with coconut water, and a person will survive and they will do very, very well. We can bring their blood pressure back up without harming them with all sorts of things that shouldn't be in there, like fluorides and all sorts of radioactive materials and all sorts of not so trace mineral, trace pharmaceuticals and things like that that are in there. So water. Just keep that top of the mind awareness. So I want you to pay attention as I'm speaking to you here right now, our light environment. I want you to look at the fluorescent lights, the LED lights, that exit sign, those are LED lights. All of our electronic equipment all have LED lights. You're like, well, who cares? I'm going to tell you why you should care. Because now that you're going to be aware, you realize and recognize, wait a minute, okay, I can't, I got to live everywhere I go out in public. It doesn't matter if it's a hotel. Doesn't matter if it's your office. Doesn't matter if you go to Costco. Doesn't matter if you go out to the doctor's office, go to a hospital, your friend's house. It's all LED lights. You go into your kitchen, your refrigerator, your cappuccino maker, your electric hot water pot, your microwave oven, your Ninja, your bread maker, your stove, everything in there, it's all LED lights. But wait, there's more, like the commercials say, wait, there's more. You jump into your car and your car is all LED lights, all of it. You jump onto a plane, all LED lights. You get onto a train. Here in the States, we don't use trains as much, but we do have some. We got the blue line here going into LA, right? From Long Beach and from other parts. But trains, subways, etc., they all have LED lights. Like, why am I making such a big deal about the LED lights? I will tell you in just a second why. Because it does affect your biochemistry and your neurobiophysiology. So you're becoming aware now of the pervasion of the LED lights. And we used to have incandescent bulbs, but we don't really have them. They still make them. It's just that here in California, they're outlawed. We can't go to Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart and buy incandescent bulbs. They just don't have them. But you can buy them on Amazon. That's the only place I've been able to find them. So far, because in my house, what I've done is I've switched them out. And when you understand what your light environment is doing to you, you might opt to do that as well. And so, because now you can ascribe a meaning to what it is that you're doing, and you know that you're benefiting yourself, right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. So back to the light environment. So this presentation is being done in a room that is bombarded with LED lights, right? Saves energy. It saves energy in terms of electricity and the pocketbook of the owner of the hotel. But is it saving your energy? No, it's like the silent thief that's robbing from you your life force energy for every second that you're under those LED lights or under that exposure. Pause button. This screen emits man-made blue light. So you get blue light toxicity from this screen. Whether it's your desktop, your laptop, your iPad, your notepad, your cell phone, doesn't matter. Those devices all emit man-made blue light, which create toxins inside of your body. What kind of toxins? Well, the first thing it does, which I think you will be alarmed to hear, that the first thing it does is it kills and destroys and breaks your DHEA fountain of youth hormone in the body. If we all are born with DHEA fountain of youth hormone, it might be a good idea to want to preserve your DHEA fountain of youth hormone because, of course we want the aesthetics of looking as good as we possibly can, but aging is just a function of oxidative stress and things breaking down and not being replaced as quickly, enough. And your stem cell's job is to identify wherever you have a damaged cell and replacing and restoring it to a younger and healthier state. Not because your stem cells care about what you look. I do care about what I look. Like all of you probably care, about what you look. But your stem cells don't care about that. They're like, damaged cell needs to be replaced. That's their job. That's their programming. Your DHEA fountain of youth hormone is destroyed when you're exposed to blue light toxicity from desktop, laptop, iPad, notepad, cell phones, and these LED lights, which we'll all agree are pretty much everywhere, right? Other than when you're outside in the sun. So now, oh my goodness, so it's destroying your fountain of youth hormone, DHEA, not to be confused with DHA, which is something different.
Right.
And I want to encourage you guys to Google it, look it up. You're like, wait a minute, I thought they were one and the same. No, two different functions. DHEA is the fountain of youth hormone. DHA also very necessary in the body, but that's something else. This does not destroy DHA, but it does destroy DHEA, fountain of youth hormone. Number two, it increases inflammation in your body. Well, that can't be good. Increasing inflammation for no other reason, just because you're having a chemical reaction where your eyes and your skin is exposed to this light environment and it's increasing your inflammation. So if you have any kind of syndrome, illness, symptoms, injuries in your body by whatever means, or if you have any germ, virus, or bacterial type of infection, do you think this is helping? No. Not only is it killing your DHEA fountain of youth hormone, but it's also increasing inflammation. It's like adding kerosene to a fire that's already kind of like going wild, right? And then the third thing it does is it increases insulin resistance. Hello, insulin resistance? Another pause button. So I want you guys to think back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago, and think about what you hear people complaining about. And 10, 20, 30 years ago, we had incandescent bulbs. We did not have all these LED lights. We had some LED lights, but not like now, right? So 10, 20, 30 years ago, you would hear one-off person here or there, they're a diabetic. They just found out that they're a diabetic, right? You might have one family member in your family that's a diabetic. There's some families that it seems to be more prevalent, but it's a very one-off thing. Now you hear type 1, type 2, type 3 diabetes. You hear about juvenile diabetes. You also hear about early onset prediabetes. You also hear about gestational diabetes, all these pregnant women who are having gestational diabetes. Wait a minute, no one that was pregnant when you were growing up or when you were in your teens, in your 20s or 30s, very rarely did you ever hear gestational diabetes, and now it's like every other woman seems to have gestational diabetes. Do you think the light has something to do with that if it's creating insulin resistance? I will let you make up your mind about that, okay? The good news is that you can do something about it. This is a toxin, but it's like I said, it's like a silent thief, taking your DHEA, dysregulating your insulin production and balancing, and increasing inflammation without your knowing it. And so you can do something about it. So We talked about artificial light, the importance of hydration, exercise. So exercising, one of the benefits that you get from exercising naturally is that you're increasing your circulation, so you get to purge whatever toxins that you have running through your body are going to cycle through faster, because the way the human body is designed, it is designed to purge and to detox through your immune system, through your kidneys, and through your liver. So there's 3 ways that we detox. We detox through our urination, defecation, and perspiration. The 3 Asians, right? Urination, defecation, perspiration. So basically, sweat, pee, and poop it out. So your kidneys take care of about 15% of your detoxing of the body through urination. Your liver takes care of about 85% of your detoxing of the body. It's one of the most vascular and easiest things to regenerate in the body is actually your liver, because your brain signals your liver to create glutathione. You're like, glutathione? I don't think I've ever heard of that word before, glutathione. Yeah, that's your master antioxidant that is responsible for boosting your immune system and for detoxing everything from the body. Kind of an important thing to know, right? So your brain signals your liver to produce glutathione, and now your liver goes, gotta send this glutathione to every single muscle of the body, every organ of the body, and it sends it out through your bloodstream, because even your brains that have low glutathione levels present themselves with neurological conditions in the body, and also present themselves with other like autoimmune disorders. People who have autoimmune disorders, people who have neurological conditions, when we test their glutathione levels through biomarker testing, through blood tests, you've heard of CBCs with differential cell blood counts, we see that they have either low or no glutathione levels. People like with Alzheimer's, dementia, children or adults who are on the spectrum, whether very mild autism or very high, they're instead of being neurotypical, they're atypical when it comes to their neurological makeup, and they usually have low or no glutathione levels. We'll talk a little bit about that later, because we also see, it used to be 1 in hundreds of thousands of kids that would have autism, and now like, it seems like, yeah, 1 in 3, 1 in like 2 out of 5 kids. You're like, wait a minute, why is it like every other kid seems to be on the spectrum now? That's not part of your genetic blueprint. That is an epigenetic. A lot of the things that we have right now are epigenetic in nature, which means that there's something in our environment that is causing that genetic expression that was turned off and now is turned on. But there is something that you can do about it. So let's move on to the next part here. We're going to talk also, because I think it's very important, I'm trying to be as comprehensive. I can only give you a little sliver of a little sliver of a little sliver today, because there's only so much time that we can talk today. But I want to give you with just some bullet points of things that you can walk away with. It's like, oh, I never thought of that. I didn't realize the significance of that. Okay, if you take charge and do just one of these things, you're going to improve your life. And then maybe down the line, you might take the second bullet point. You're like, I'm going to change my light environment. I'm going to drink more water. Just that alone is going to make a big difference. You might be suffering from headaches, and the only reason you're suffering from headaches is because your brain is very water-loving, very hydrophilic. Your brain is about 75 to 80% water. So as soon as you become dehydrated, your brain shrinks, causing a headache, sometimes a migraine, depending on the level of toxins that you have in the body. You start flushing out and detoxifying through drinking the adequate amount of water, your headaches and your migraines disappear, provided that nothing else has been damaged from that dehydration, right? Sometimes we have to take more extensive measures for that. I had a daughter who suffered anywhere from 45 to 60 migraines in a month, and I knocked her down to 3 mild headaches a month, and then knocked them out altogether. So it is doable. You don't have to suffer a lifetime of headaches and migraines, and that, because it's very debilitating when you're suffering with those kind of things. So we're going to talk also about parasite cleanses. Newsflash, everybody has parasites. Even the most organic, clean eating, healthiest, everybody has parasites. If you grew up with a dog or a cat or a parakeet, or a dog, a cat and a parakeet and horses, and on a farm, or you have pets in your home, or you eat sushi, sushi is, raw fish, you're going to get parasites. not all parasites can be identified through stool tests. Those are larger sized parasites. But what is never talked about, it's very difficult to find information, and unless you're talking to parasitologists or doctors who are very aware of this information, usually regenerative medicine and integrative medicine doctors that may or may not have an MD as well. Guess what? They're not going to talk to you about intracellular parasites, which cannot be detected through a blood test, through a urine test, or through even fecal analysis, let alone some of the other testing that's done for that. But yet you still have that, and you still have the symptomology from that. So we're going to talk about parasite cleanses. We're going to talk about detox baths. We're going to talk about the value of eating an organic, healthy diet, you know, man-made, not man-made, but God-made. And we're going to talk also about supportive master antioxidants like glutathione that I already talked to you a little, kind of prefaced this talk with the glutathione, and also benefit of carnosine and eon. Those are 3 master antioxidants that the general public usually doesn't know about. So glutathione, carnosine, and eon, and why you should know about them, and you might want to activate that in your body. All right. So understanding the toxic effects of artificial light, because these are man-made lights. So one of the steps that you can take, we've already talked about, one of the bullet points was to drink water, right? Number 2 is you might want to change out the light bulbs in your home environment, especially your bedroom and the place where you spend the most amount of time. So, and I have a great room, which is a formal dining room and living room area in my home. And I spend the majority of my time there because I have a workstation in that great room. And so what I did was my lighting fixture right above my workplace, it had 6 LED light bulbs. So what did I do? I went out to, I went to Home Depot, couldn't find any incandescent clear bulbs or infrared bulbs. I went to Lowe's, couldn't find any. Then I discovered when I went online, because I figured, well, maybe I could just order it through Costco or through one of them. And it turns out they're illegal in the state of California. That's why you can't buy them. So I went to Amazon, of course. I was able to find the red bulb, infrared clear bulbs. I bought clear bulbs and infrared. So I started off with 3 red, 3 clear. And then over time I decided, and then the whole idea is that during the daytime you put the red and the clear ones on to offset the blue screen that I've got, right? And my cell phone that I'm looking and texting all the time. And then I would keep the clear ones on only till sunset, and then after sunset, I would turn off the clear ones and just leave the red ones on. Then later, after several times of replacing them, I ended up doing 4 and 2. I only have 2 clear ones and 4 red ones. So long story short, that is something that you can do in your home. You can switch out so that after sunset, you don't have any, you have a TV on, a computer on, and so forth. You can offset some of that effects by changing the bulbs where you only have your red infrared light bulbs on after sunset, okay? That will help a great deal. LED lights emit wavelengths that disrupt, this is a newsflash, they disrupt your circadian rhythms. I'm gonna stop right there because everybody thinks circadian rhythm only has to do with sleep. It's not true. Your eye is not just a camera that's videotaping everything that's going on and taking snapshots that it saves as memories into your left brain, right? It's actually a circadian rhythm oscillator. You're like, what's that? It's kind of like a clock. Like if you look at a clock on like a traditional, not a digital clock, but if you look at an old-fashioned clock where it's got hands, right? Your eye is like a clock that's keeping track of what time of day it is based on the wavelengths of light that we have going on. And it's oscillating, which means it's rotating all the time. But it's not just to set your melatonin that puts you to sleep and serotonin that wakes you up. It's also to regulate and set the circadian rhythms of your endocrine system, your respiratory system, your micro and macro circulatory system, reproductive system, your neurological system, all the systems of the body, all the organ systems, all the organs all have their own circadian rhythm. And it's through your eyes that those circadian rhythms are set based on your light environment. So now you're starting to see, oh, I can see where the dysregulation is starting already just from my eye taking in this light environment. And your skin has photoreceptors, which are like eyeballs, that are also receiving that information, and it's affecting your body. So let's go on to talk about health. Blue light in particular accelerates aging by destroying DHEA, increasing inflammation, and insulin resistance. On purpose, I'm very aware of the fact that we hear things once and there's only a probability of 3 to 5% retention on what it is that I tell you. So you'll hear that I usually say things 3 to 5 times to make sure that you grasp and hear it more than once so that you can.
I just have a quick question about the LED lights. You can purchase LED lights where you can change the temperature. You can go from 2700 Kelvin, which mimics the incandescent light, all the way to 5000 Kelvin, which is that
never heard that
really
before.
bright light. So I'm wondering if we changed our recess lighting and we put it at 2700 Kelvin, which is more of a warm light, if that could offset some of the disruption of the circadian lighting.
Probably some of it will be.
Okay.
The critical element is, okay, so for example, like one of the things that I do, because I understand my light environment, is that when you first wake up in the morning, our visible light spectrum it goes from about 280 hertz to about, by the time it's noon, it's about 1200 hertz. So you have like 280, 380, 480 from sunrise all the way till like 10 o'clock in the morning. In the first few hours of the morning, that's when you have the UVA light spectrum from the sun if you're going outside, UVA and UVB light, which is how, because we're kind of like plants in the sense that we do photosynthesis. They don't teach us in school that we do photosynthesis, but we do. And so as your eyes and your skin is out in the sun and you're breathing that fresh air and your eyes are seeing the blue sky and the rays of the sun facing east, you are taking the UVA rays and you're converting that into a hormone inside of the body, and that's a yellow light spectrum that goes hand in hand with UVA production. Your eye is designed with, your retina is upside down to slow down the wave of light. When you slow down the wave of light, things that are in waveform create mass. And so now as it goes through the eye, it's slowed down and now it goes into your bloodstream as vitamin A. That's how that works. UVB does the same thing with the light spectrum of UVB. It slows down the wave of light and it turns into vitamin D and D3, so that now as soon as it hits the blood, it's actually a particle and not just a wavelength. So that's natural formation of vitamin D, which is photosynthesis. That's photobiomodulation because you're getting it directly from the sun. It's not the same to take it orally. So one of the things that I like to tell people is, like, first of all, that's going to help those first hours of the day. If the first 30 minutes before you do anything, getting out and getting that sunlight before 10 o'clock in the morning is really important, because I'm getting natural vitamin A, natural vitamin D and D3 through that means, right? If first thing in the morning before I go out to get that sun, if I look at my cell phone, my brain and my circadian rhythm clock, which is what my eyes are to set everything in, it's gonna think that it's noon, because of the blue light screen wavelength is at 1200, not 280, 380, 480. It's 1200. So it's tricking my body into thinking, oh, it's noon. So now you're off about anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 6 hours potentially. Let's say sunrise is at 6:30 in the morning. You look at your phone, your brain thinks it's noon, so it's going to throw off your melatonin cycle, which is going to throw off your serotonin cycle. You can see how that's just two things that it's. For now, you can see how, and everything is tied together. Oh my gosh, now you're, like, sometimes women with, PCOS or PMS, or they have infertility problems. Sometimes it's just the regulation of that light environment, that if they fixed a few things, it can make all the difference in the world. So that's why I don't look at my cell phone before 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't have a cell phone in my bedroom at all. I don't look at it till after 10. People know that they can text me at any time, because I have people in Australia 17 hours ahead. I have people in Dubai and UK and Korea. They're 8, 9, 10, and 11 hours ahead of me. So text me whenever you want, but I'm not going to be looking at my phone before 10 a.m. in the morning, because I don't want to signal that to my body, because I know that that's not beneficial.
What about these phones?
Same thing, because it's got blue light screen too.
Oh.
There are all little tiny LEDs in that screen that give man-made blue light. So let's move on here to, we already talked about this, the impact. I've already told you about the impact of the blue light, and it does affect your reproductive system. It does affect your hormonal health. How many of you Another thing that if you kind of just pay attention to, you're like, wait a minute, no, and very rarely did you hear people with thyroid issues, and of course there's more women than men who have thyroid issues, but now it seems like every other person also has thyroid issues. You notice that? It's all connected. Okay, moving on to the next. We talked about the hydration of water. To revisit this again, it's very important that we are properly, hydrated. Good quality water, not distilled water. Not distilled water. You want mountain spring water. You don't want dead water. All the energy, whether it's light energy, whether it's water inside the body, everything works on a positive and a negative charge. Everything has a toroidal field. If you look at the figure 8, or I don't know if you guys are familiar with toruses, Torus, or a toroidal field, where the energy it's circulating as it goes in, it's also going out, so it's doing both and. So at the DNA level, blood level, everything in your body is always doing that. Of course, if you have a very serious disease, then you have interruption in that. When you drink microwaved water, you're drinking dead water. You're not drinking water. Your body can't hydrate with that water because there's no charge to it. You need to have mineral spring water. That it doesn't have to have the bubbly, it just has to be mineral spring water so that you have natural minerals in it, and it's got the negative and the positive charge. So as you hydrate with that, now your body, you're not just going to be a filter to pass that water through, but it'll actually penetrate the membranes of the cells in your body. People who can't, are not drinking the proper type of water, maybe sometimes they might be drinking the proper type of water, but they have, you see swelling of the legs, they have edema and things like that. They lack the electrolytes and the mineral content to open up the cell membrane so that the cell membrane can take the water inside of the cell, so the water dances outside of the cell, which is what gives you the swelling. And then you'll just pee, but you'll still, like in testing, you'll still show that you're dehydrated. You're like, but I drank all this water. Well, very simple solution is get Celtic salt. You buy organic Celtic salt, you take a few, like I take a little ramekin and I have like a tablespoon, and it'll last me a long time because you're just going to take a few crystals at a time. And I just wet my finger, get a few crystals, put it on my tongue. Immediately that opens up the cells in my body because the electrolytes go directly through my tongue into my bloodstream as opposed to going through my digestive system. And now I drink water, and now my cells are able to absorb that hydration properly. Another little tip, and you can get your Celtic sea salt at like Sprouts, at Whole Foods. I just ordered mine on Amazon just because of convenience. But it's accessible to everyone, and that's rich with minerals, which we have a depletion of minerals in our food supply, so that's going to bring minerals back into your body, and most importantly is that it's going to open up those electrolytes so that your cell membranes now can absorb the water that you're drinking. Okay, so we talked about some of these things already. We're mostly water. DNA is 92% water. Things shrink in the body when they're dehydrated. Yikes! Don't know about you, but I don't want my brain shrinking because that means that it's not going to work properly. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Proteins fold. Oh my gosh, this is massive, monumental. So if having your brain shrink isn't enough of a motivation to tell you, for you to change your behavior and start to drink the proper amounts of water, hey, I want you to know that when you're 2% dehydrated, you'll feel parched. You'll feel thirst in your mouth, okay? So that's signaling, things are starting to shrink inside the body. But guess what? Proteins inside your body, they fold when you're 2% or more dehydrated. So that means that you're on your way to things breaking inside of your body. It's the beginning of disease, of things not working properly. Because if you equate a protein to a human being, you look at your proteins like the collagen. Collagen is the number one building block protein of the body to create all of the tissue in your body, your skin, all of your organs have collagen in them. When your proteins fold, they don't work. So if I had to do this presentation and I had to be all the way down where my head is at my knees and I'm folded in half, would I be able to give this presentation right now? No. I would literally have my bum up in the air. Would I be able to feed myself food? Can you imagine trying to defy gravity and eat and have it go down your throat when you're upside down? No, I wouldn't be able to work. I wouldn't be able to drive. Wouldn't be able to feed myself. I wouldn't be able to clothe myself. I'm pretty much handicapped at that point. And the same thing is true with your proteins. When you are not properly hydrated, your proteins begin to fold. And that's the beginning of disease. That's the beginning of a system in your body. Like, it's going to target whatever organ first, whatever the weakest organ in your body is, that will suffer first, and then whatever's tied to that organ system would be next. And then that's the beginning of disease, syndromes, malfunctions, and the decay of the body and its health and well-being at that time. So super important, drink water, because there's something called the Krebs cycle, which you don't really need to remember that.
I know.
If you want to look it up, you can look it up and see what the Krebs cycle does. And the number one thing to do, I do want you to remember, is proteins. You don't want them to fold. You want them to be just like your DNA. You don't want your DNA to start to fall apart. You want your DNA 92% water, because it needs to be doing what it needs to do, what it's programmed, right? All right. So proteins fold, cell function is impaired. Of course, when your brain shrinks, you're going to have impaired brain function. You're going to have cognitive decline. You're going to have issues with memory. You're going to have issues with recalling things, even learning something where you're exposed to something and then you store it. You may not even be able to store it if you have your brain, it's shrunk. So that's why it's important every day to drink water, not strawberry juice.
Information is held in water?
Inflammation, no.
No, information.
Information
Is stored in water.
Information is stored in water. And oh my gosh, what you have pointed out is so profound, because water is programmable. Just like a computer is programmable, we can program water. So that's another talk that, I'll have to do another time, because I don't drink any water that's not programmed and that's not structured. I program my own water and I structure my own water. Like, I brought a 3-gallon jug for this 4-day event that we're here at, Thursday through Sunday. That water is programmed as it's sitting in that 3-gallon jug. When I buy it at Mother's, and it's not programmed, it's not structured, but it is mineral spring water, and it's a little alkaline. If you have water that's not alkaline enough for you, you can always do it at home with baking soda. You just have, to make it more alkaline. But more importantly, I structure and I program my water. We don't have time. That takes like another hour and a half, and we don't have that kind of time today. But it's something that you can look up. It's pretty easy, and there's Dr. Imarasu, who did the study with water. I wish he was still alive, because when I first learned about that, he had just passed away, and I'm like, I would have loved to have picked his brain and done some experiments with him. So, okay, we already talked about, your detox when you're dehydrated is different. Like the genesis, the most foundational thing about detoxing is you have to drink water, because that's how you purge things through the body. Otherwise, it gets stuck. So at 2% dehydration, we already talked about how you feel parched in the mouth. 8% dehydration. Wait till I show you the next picture, because I think you'll be appalled when you see what I'm about to reveal to you. 10% dehydration, you lose your mind. You literally cannot have a thought, because you don't have enough water moving through that very hydrophilic organ, and so the energy can't flow. 12%, you're dead. Hard shut down, the insides of your body, it's like cement, so nothing can get anywhere, and you're dead. No one can survive. There's no coming back from 12% dehydration. You want to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. All right, so we're going to jump to the role of exercise and detoxification. And one of the exercise is not just exercise for the sake of just moving. When you move, you're actually moving blood and your lymph system, the lymphatic system. If you're not moving, if you're not jumping, if you're not bouncing, it pulls in your body. And you want, when you exercise, when you're running, there's like that downward from every step that you take. When you're riding your bike, when you're doing yoga and you're stretching, you're going up and down in all sorts of different directions. When you're playing baseball, when you're doing racquetball, when you're playing golf, there is a movement of your lymph system. Your lymphs are under your neck, all the soft spots of the body. So under each side of your neck, under your armpits, and your groin area. As you are moving and oxygenating your lungs, and you have circulation of your respiratory system that is connected to your blood supply, and your blood supply is going to be more oxygenated, which means that your cell turnover is going to be expedited, and so you can offload things that don't serve you. That's part of the detoxification process, and then you, through perspiration, which we talked about briefly earlier, through your skin, you're going to detox any of the toxins that are in your body. If you notice, people who eat a lot of processed foods, there is a more unpleasant body odor that comes from your body detoxing from those things, as opposed to people who eat a cleaner, more organic, less processed food diet. The body odor tends to be a sweeter, pleasant one as opposed to one that's unpleasant. But let's face it, things like lauryl sulfate and MSG and some of these maltodextrin, there's like all sorts of things that are toxins that are put in processed foods that you don't find if you pick an apple from a tree, or you have a piece of asparagus, or you have spinach, or you know. So when your body doesn't have a preponderance of those toxins, you're not going to have the associated smells of those things that are coming from the body. Does that make sense? Okay. So exercise, without a shadow of a doubt, we know that that supports detoxification, circulation, and overall health. Yoga, for people, yoga can be very gentle and it can be very demanding. You know, some of the things that you do in yoga look very simple until you try to do them and you're like, oh my gosh, next thing you know, it's like you're not even moving that much and you're like sweating bullets because it's using a lot of your core, you're really having to stretch. But yoga, for men and for women alike, it's a wonderful thing because it is an integration of body and mind together. But there's sprinting, again, something that's not talked about much. Sprinting, you may not do anything other than 3 times a day for 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half. Sprint in the morning, the afternoon, and evening, nothing at all other than just sprinting. You're like 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half isn't going to do anything. Ooh, I beg to differ. The research shows otherwise. When you get outside and you sprint for 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, if you can do more, fantastic, but if not, not a big deal. You are activating in your calf muscle the solex muscle, which is tied to the sun and your vitamin D production and the decreasing of glucose in your body. Everything is connected. Remember, I keep on saying everything is connected. It really, truly is connected. So even if you can only do 30 seconds in the morning, 30 seconds in the afternoon, and 30 seconds in the evening, you get monumental effects from doing that. So I would encourage you, even if it's just 30 seconds, do that, because you want to be able to regulate the glucose. Remember, insulin resistance, it costs you, everybody has 30 seconds, a minute and a half a day, 30, 30, 30. Another little clue. Nikola Tesla said that the secrets of the universe are in the 3, the 6, and the 9, right?
Right.
Notice how I said 30, 30, and 30. Could be 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Something to think about. Okay, so we already talked about yoga. Sprinting is a positive stressor. It is a stressor because your body's like, oh, when you sprint all of a sudden, you know, your body's going, you know, fight or flight response. But it's a positive stressor. It's not a stressor that's taking energy or stealing you of anything. It's actually replenishing something into your body to oxygenate the body and aid cellular turnover. Okay. Daily sprinting stimulates lymphatic flow, which we already talked about, sweat production, which helps detox, and metabolic processes. Easy peasy, isn't it? Parasite cleanse. So I told you guys a little bit ago how we all have parasites, whether we like it or not. Some people are like so grossed out. Ew, no, I don't have parasites. No way. You know, I look at my, you know, every time I do number 2 and I don't see anything in there. I did tell you guys there are intracellular parasites. And I actually I do full body scans where I run 4 reports on my patients. And I can see what parasites they have, and after I scan someone, we also send them frequencies to knock out food sensitivities, parasites, molds, fungus, and so forth, and bacteria and viruses. And we can clearly see, oh wow, we were able to knock out all these parasites just with 1 or 2 sending of frequencies and scanning the body. It's like, whoa, makes a major difference. So parasites, something that, you know, I recommend that you do a parasite cleanse at least once every 90 days. The parasites that you kill today, they have eggs, they give off toxins when they pass on. You want to do it in a smart, planned manner and not just like haphazardly, because you can make yourself sick as you're killing the parasites. You're not killing yourself, but you can have a very unpleasant, heavy flu-like symptom where it wipes out your energy, because those toxins that are released from the dead parasites feels like a really bad flu. And so what I suggest to people is like, okay, if you're starting to notice that you're having detox effects from the parasite cleanses or from what other things, there are things like detox baths that you can do, things like taking activated charcoal. You don't want to do that every day, but when you're having these presentation of these symptoms, you can have a little gentler experience so that you can complete the course of action and still move about and do things that you need to do in life. So everybody has parasites. Not all can be detected by stool test, like I said. There are intracellular parasites. They're imperative for effective. It's imperative that you do a parasite cleanse for effective detoxification. Chlorine dioxide, I would never recommend to anybody to take chlorine dioxide because I don't look very good in an orange jumper behind an exclusive gated community like, I don't know if they have a women's prison in Chino, but I know they have a men's prison out in Chino. So jail, and I'm allergic to jail. So I'm not gonna tell anybody what to do there.
You haven't lived yet though, if you haven't gone to jail.
Nah, well, and I know people who've gone to jail, but it's like, there's different circumstances. But I can learn from other people's mistakes. I don't need to go there. But I will tell you that I do use chlorine dioxide. That's what we put chlorine dioxide in pools so that you can swim there and not have microbes and so forth that are gonna make you ill. So it's there to clarify the water. And again, you know that your body is primarily water. So you can I take chlorine dioxide. I don't do the complicated method where you take all the tablets and you have to have a lemon and this and that. No, I make it simplify. Because when you simplify, then you're more apt to use that methodology and you can adopt it into your everyday care because it's simple and easy.
How much?
So, I don't know how much it is because I order mine from Amazon. I don't make any, I'm giving you these things.
Yeah.
I just want you guys to be well. So I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you, I'd have to look it up. But I buy, there's something called Natrachlor, and they have Natrachlor A and B. It comes as a little duo kit. There's little bottles like that. And all you do is you take 3 drops of A, 3 drops of B. The number one thing is it has to be in glass. It can't be in plastic. It has to be in glass. You put those 3 drops, wait a minute, and then it turns yellow. As soon as it turns yellow, if you wait 3-4 minutes, it'll evaporate because it is chlorine dioxide, because it reacts with the oxygen. So after about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, it's yellow. Then you just fill it up with 3 to 4 ounces of water to taste, because it doesn't matter. 3 to 4 doesn't matter. And then you just drink that on an empty stomach in the morning for the next 30 days. You don't want to be doing that every day moving forward. Again, you have to respect the balance of your body, but it'll kill germs, viruses, bacteria, and clear out. It'll help clear out not every single type of parasite, but it will clear out a fairly good amount of those parasites. So that's something that you can do. You don't have to. Like I said, I'm not telling you, I'm not recommending it, I'm not advising, I'm just telling you that's what I do. And if you want to imitate me, that's fine. Eliminates bacteria, fungus, virus, parasites, and giardia, and cryptosporidium, which is oftentimes found in our regular tap water. So even if you don't drink your tap water, you probably bathe or shower in it. And you're like, well, if I don't drink tap water, where would I get it? Well, you probably wash your hair and take a bath and take a shower in the water that comes from your bathroom, which is the municipal water supply. And so a lot of our water supply has cryptosporidium. So that's one simple, easy way to take care of that. And of course, since you're taking showers and baths every day, that's why I would say, pay attention to your body. And if you're noticing certain things, you're like, hey, the next 30 days, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm in it for the next 30 days. You might decide to do 30 days, and at the 3-week mark, you're like, I'm just not feeling this. And that means your body says, you've already mission accomplished, you don't need to do this anymore. So then you just stop.
And with that cryptosporidium, in a manner of speaking, cryptocurrency is similar.
A different type of crypto.
That's right, but still death.
Thanks I'm gonna use that as a YouTube title. A different type of crypto,
Right.
Not what you're thinking. I like that, thank you.
But the same mentality, crypto.
Oh, yeah, well, I think that there's it's not a coincidence, it's by design.
No, of course not, right.
Parasites can be crushing, could be very crushing to your microbiome. Sometimes people have all sorts of different skin conditions and so forth, and they're unaware of the fact that it's because their microbiome is out of sorts. They're having, whether it's contact dermatitis or dermatitis or seborrheic, I always have trouble with that word, seborrheic, like from seborrhea, type dermatitis or psoriasis or eczema, or it could be labeled something else. And that's your body's trying to get rid of those toxins through your skin. And so you've got a detox.
Yeah, they put whitener in pizza dough, and it destroys your.
They put chalk.
It destroys your microbiome.
That's why you have to have organic flour instead of regular.
Right.
Because otherwise you're taking in that chalk, which is really bad for you.
Yeah.
I know, isn't it disgusting? I'm like, why would they put whitener? They put chalk and regular flour? Oh, yeah,
To
it's
screw up your microbiome.
it totally, yeah,
So it's done with intent, which makes it criminal.
Yeah, it's horrible. So parasites can be crushing to your microbiome and your immune system. It can be an immune system disruptor. So that's why I think it's important for you guys to have in your awareness. You might want to adopt a parasite cleanse, and once a quarter. We've got 4 quarters in a year, every 90 days. Let me do a parasite cleanse, and clear. Some people do it with the rhythms of the moon. You have a question?
Yeah, so what other parasite detoxes are there than chlorine dioxide?
That's a great question. And so one of my mentors is Dr. Lee Merritt. Of course, her videos were banned on YouTube, so you can't find them on YouTube anymore. But you can find them on, and if you want to text me, my number's here. I will send you the link, because otherwise, sometimes that information is buried and it's even hard to find on Rumble. But Dr. Lee Merritt has a wonderful, 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 wonderful parasite cleanse. She recommends not only the use of chlorine dioxide, but she recommends benzosinol, which is Panacure C, which is what you use to deworm your dogs and your cats, and also cattle and horses. And also nitous oxide. Using those, and she actually has a recommended plan what you're going to do, because you want to kill not only the parasites there that are, the hosts, but you also, when the eggs go to hatch, you want to kill the eggs and catch them too.
Right.
So that is, again, we don't have enough time to get into. I'm trying to just point you in the direction of some of the basic stuff.
Yeah.
I can send you. I have my patients and my clients. I send them all the information so they have it all handy. So if you're interested in any of that, just text me. I will not only send you the bullet points on this, but I will also send you that information per your request for anything that I'm talking about, whether we're talking about the parasite cleanse, we're talking about the chlorine dioxide, what have you. I just want to point you in the direction. And then you can do your own investigation. You can do your own research. You can do your own validation. You're like, wow, yeah, I need to start doing this. I need to start doing that. Does that make sense? Alrighty. So moving on to the next one. All right. So we already talked about these things. We talked about the cryptosporidium. Let's see, we gotta go. Okay. Dr. Hilda Clark, the late Dr. Hilda Clark, because she was around for a very long time. She lived with a great deal of longevity. One of the things, like I mentioned briefly, how my daughter was having 45 to 60 headaches, and it was actually migraines. They were full-blown migraines. And so they were so severe that we ended up having to take her to a neurologist. And so about that time, of course, things come to you when you need them, right? That's how the universe works. And of course, I'm praying to God, asking, please, I want to ask and I want to receive what it is that I need to do, because I've never really had a headache. I don't have headaches. Some people have headaches all the time. I never had headaches. I almost couldn't relate, but I didn't want her to be in pain. I didn't want her to miss all this school, right? And so then Dr. Hilda Clark got on my radar. I investigated her at great length, and then she has something called the Dr. Hilda. It's Hulda, not Hilda. Dr.
Right.
Hilda Clark cleanse. So when I researched this a long time ago, at least 12, 13 years ago, I researched her. And I found that no one ever died. No one ever ended up in the hospital due to her. It's a gallbladder and liver cleanse. And what it does is, for your gallbladder and your liver, it opens up the ducts so that any of your if you have gallstones, and most people have gallstones and liver stones in there, your ducts are open. And so over the next 2 days, you have to follow this very specific regimen of drinking. You're basically going to create a potion, if you will. It's grapefruit juice. You have grapefruit juice, you have olive oil, and then you have water. And then there's a couple other things that you need to add in there that you're not necessarily going to put in that concoction, and you're going to want to refrigerate it, make sure it's cold. But you have to follow a schedule of not eating after a certain time, and then every 2 hours you have to be laying down so that you're using gravity to open up the ducts. And then you basically are married. You want to make sure that you're close to the bathroom. You don't want to be like having to run down the hallway to go to the bathroom. You want to be pretty close, because anything inside your body is going to be liquefied. So everything is open, and that's why it's a cleanse. So you'll have, for people who, depending again on your diet, you can have about 2,000 stones that you will see in the toilet. To the degree that they're very green and yellowish, kind of a celadonish color, means that you have a lot of cholesterol and bile on them. The ones that are darker means that you don't have as much cholesterol and bile on them. And you'll see some people have very large stones. It doesn't hurt. It's just that you get the Hershey, I call it the Hershey squirts. I know it kind of sounds gross, but like I said, it clears everything out. So I've had people who have had, like my daughter, we did that with her, and then, you know, I told the neurologist, Dr. El Valisi, and he's like, "What did you do?" I said, "It's called the Dr. Hilda Clark cleanse." He had never heard of it before. He's like, send me the information, because I need that, you know, for my patients." I said, "So sure." So she went from 45 to 60 migraines down to 3 mild headaches, and then in a few more months, then we had her down to 0. She hasn't had headaches since. So that's pretty good, because she was missing a lot of school her senior year in high school. So Dr. Hilda Clark cleanse, I can send that to you in a PDF, or I also have a video on my YouTube channel that I go over. I basically spend about 45 minutes talking everything having to do with that cleanse, and I also provide, you see the cleanse on there, you can take a screenshot of it and so forth. So it's a master liver and gallbladder cleanse. It resets your body. It's recommended to do twice a year. I like to do mine January and June, just like I like to go get my teeth cleaned January and June. That way, when you do things by system, you spend less energy, so now you can take more energy for the things that you want to do that are fun and things that you have a passion for. For me, it's teaching things like this to people like you. I have a video, like I mentioned, on YouTube. You can text me and I will send you the YouTube link, and if you want the PDF, I'll send that to you too. Weekly detox baths. So if you're healthy and everything's all fine and dandy, do a detox bath. Once, do something that's going to make you feel good, that's going to help you restore your body. Relax when you take that bath. You also get to release some of those toxins through the water. It's a very gentle detox process. Detox baths, they support the body's detoxification, because again, your skin is your third kidney. Your skin as your third kidney. We both release toxins and bring in electrolytes with a proper detox bath. And I'll tell you what a proper detox bath is in a minute. I recommend using baking soda. So you can do a full detox bath, but at the very minimum, I tell people, I go, if you have nothing but just these 2 ingredients, you can do a detox bath, once, twice a week for the rest of your life, and that's going to just benefit you. It won't hurt you. And that would be with baking soda and with Epsom salts. Baking soda is basically sodium bicarbonate. That means that for every sodium molecule you have 2 carbons. Those 2 carbons, that is what's going to bind to whatever toxins you have in your body, and it'll pull the toxins out through your skin. Fantastic. Sodium is a type of electrolyte. Epsom salts, that's magnesium sulfate. Again, now you have magnesium, which is an electrolyte. The body really loves magnesium. It helps relax your muscles. If you've done a workout, it'll take the lactic acid and it'll pull it out of your skin so it doesn't pool on your skin, so that you're not sore the next day. Your body loves Epsom salts. We use a magnesium sulfate Epsom salts, actually in IV form for women who are pregnant, who are having preterm labor, because it relaxes and smooths out the muscles so that they either stop or they slow down contracting, okay? So just with those 2 ingredients, you can have a pretty good detox bath. Baking soda and magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salt. So I recommend using organic, of course, as opposed to non-organic. And you're doing detoxing while you're also putting benefit into your body. So you're doing both and. Okay. What else here? Borax and Himalayan salt. Those are the 2 other ingredients if you want a more comprehensive. If you're going to do that more comprehensive detox bath, I do tell people, if you've been on a lot of meds, if you eat a lot of like foods with MSG, a lot of foods that's packaged in plastic bags and boxes and things like that, you want to make sure that you have somebody. You don't want to be alone, because you may have trouble getting out of the tub depending on the level of toxins that you're releasing. I had a gal about 12, 13, 14 years ago who, she was having all sorts of gastrointestinal problems, but she didn't eat. She ate a lot of fast food, and she wasn't that good about eating healthy, nutritious food at the time. And so her and her boyfriend, had come to me and so recommended this detox bath to her. And I told her, don't be surprised if your water gets very dark in color, because to the degree that you have toxins, that's what's going to be left in the water. So your water might get really dark, like chocolatey brown. It could even turn black. It's different for everybody. It could be grayish in color. It's not going to stay clear. I can guarantee you that. So she filled up her tub with water. Luckily, her boyfriend was there with her. And I recommend 30 minutes, the water as hot as you can take it. By the time the 30 minutes are up, the water cools off and you're going to want to get out anyhow. But when she was ready to get out of the tub, she had released so many toxins. The first thing she said, she was kind of like really alarmed that the water was black. I go, the water was black, or you mean like really dark brown? She goes, no. She goes, at first it started getting tan colored, and then I noticed the water was kind of orangey. Before I knew it, it was really dark brown. It got coffee brown, and then it was like black coffee. I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, you've got a lot of toxins that you pulled out of your body, because to this day, she's the only person I've ever had the water turn black. And I'm like, I don't know what she was putting in her body, but obviously, thank goodness she got it out of her body. But she was only like 30, I want to say 31, 32 years old. She had trouble getting out of the tub. She said she felt so much lighter, but at the same time, I think her muscles were so relaxed and she had released so many toxins that she needed to just go lay down. And so her boyfriend actually had to physically help her getting out of the tub. But I tell people, if you're single, you might want to do this. You might do this when you have somebody that can maybe help you, just in case you need help getting out, depending on the level of toxins. And I think people kind of have a good idea of, it's like, oh yeah, I have a lot of toxins. And other people, no, I eat pretty clean and healthy, and I don't take, this, that, or whatnot. Everybody's different,
Yeah.
But so just something to keep in mind. So I like to tell that story so that you're aware that that potential is a possibility. Okay. The last ingredient we talk about, or 2 ingredients, are borax and Himalayan salts. When you take baking soda and Epsom salts, and then you add borax and Himalayan salt. Borax, we have one of the largest mines for borax.
20 meal team.
Yeah, in California. They're right here in California. Like, they're huge. Well, this is one of the only things, the only thing that I know of, and I know that Dr. Lee Merritt also talks about this particular mineral more. It's the only thing that will take nanotechnology out of your body. It will actually pull it out through your skin, from your hair. There's a lot of nanotechnology that's being put into shampoos right now, and all sorts of different things. I don't know of anything else other than this, and I deal with a lot of scientists because I have a lot of molecular biologists and epidemiologists and virologists and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I haven't found anyone that could tell me, okay, even biochemists that can tell me, okay, is there something in lieu of borax? Not yet. So far, that's all. When I find something, I will let you guys know.
There isn't.
Yeah, I don't know of anything else.
No.
Yeah. Himalayan sea salt, there's great, again, the minerals in the Himalayan sea salt. Just 2 cups of each one of these things, fantastic. If you just do Himalayan salt, again, the electrolytes and the minerals are fantastic for you. You gotta make sure that it's a good source of Himalayan sea salt, because some of it is has heavy amounts of mercury in it, so you wanna make sure that it's organic and the source is clean and good, okay? When skin, I mentioned briefly earlier about skin eruptions. Any kind of skin issues, increased detox baths and frequency. I had a terrible allergic, like, when I was 2, I was overdosed. I was given an adult dosage of penicillin, so I almost died of that overdose. The doctor told my mom she'll never be able to, be on penicillin ever in any way, shape, or form. So, she's allergic to penicillin, to make sure that she never touches it. Da, 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 da. Well, last August I went to a barbecue place in Huntington Beach. It's not the restaurant's fault, by the way, because I don't want anybody to think it's like, oh, you should tell the restaurant it's their fault. I go, no, because they bought that batch of beef in good faith, just like they buy it all the time, because it's a barbecue place, right? But what I discovered, because I did testing on my body, I discovered this particular tri-tip, which is the type of beef that I selected, which I eat red meat like maybe 3 times a year. That was one of them. Well, guess what? Apparently that rancher had injected that piece of beef, that tri-tip, with penicillin. So I had a very violent allergic reaction. And so luckily I knew what to do, but 3 hours after eating that, my head, my scalp, my face, my neck, under my armpits, everything was bright red. I was like on fire, which that's what inflammation is. Inflammation is flames inside your body. It's inflammation. That signals your stem cells. Oh, where there's inflammation, there's damaged cells. We need to send the troops. And in my case, it was way above the pay grade for my my lymphatic system was going crazy, going, what the hell are you doing? And it took quite a bit. I couldn't just do the activation of stem cells in order to repair this. I had to do not just 1 detox bath a week, not 1, 2, or 3. I had to do them 2 to 3 times a day to manage this. And in addition to that, I also did some infrared light, therapy. And in addition to that, I also did something called the Myers cocktail, which is 8,000 milligrams of vitamin C, B minerals, D minerals. It's like all sorts of nutrients so that it goes directly into your bloodstream. It not only cools things down, but it's almost like fertilizer, because it doesn't have to go through your gut. It's going directly into your bloodstream, and it's going to all of your tissues at that time. Took a little bit of doing, and then Dr. Galley, who's on my team, he says, had you not done what you did, and had you not been on stem cell activation, you could have died from that anaphylactic shock that you had from that allergic reaction, because that was very severe. I go, I know. But that's why I came to you, to get those Meyer cocktails and to do the infrared. He goes, I was kind of worried about you. I go, I knew that it was kind of a tough one, but it also gives me the experience that I can talk to you guys, whether it's an allergic reaction, whether it's an infection from parasites, viruses, germs, or bacteria. There are things that you can do to mitigate it. But I'm sure you've never heard of anybody tell you take a detox, like a good detox bath, not a mild detox bath, but a mindful detox bath, and to do it 2 to 3 times a day. Well, that's what you sometimes have to do. I had to take care of this. It took me like 90 days to clear that out. 90 days. My gas bill went through the roof because I'm doing these hot water baths 3 times a day. But that's what required. And it was super painful too. Oh, painful and then itchy at the same time, because my skin, I was like a reptile. Because since I was burning from the inside out, my skin kept on peeling and peeling and peeling. It was miserable. But it's in my past. It's not in my present anymore, thank goodness. All right, so you know about what the ingredients are. When, like I said, skin eruptions, I know a thing or two from personal experience. You might want to pair it with soda doping. So you're probably going, soda doping? Soda doping? You mean like club soda? No, I mean, we talked about organic baking soda. So soda doping is something that Olympic athletes started doing in the 50s and the 60s, where you just take 10 ounces of room temperature water, take half a teaspoon of baking soda, organic baking soda, and then you just stir it. You keep stirring it, and when you see that it's clear and it's no longer white, now you know it's ready for you to drink. And now you drink all of that, and what it does is it alkalizes your body. It increases energy, and because it's alkalizing your body, it gives you a little increase in energy, and it's supposed to boost your performance. So it was first discovered by runners, like Olympic runners and sprinters. And so it's been used for at least 50 or 60 years now. It's inexpensive. Everybody has baking soda at home, so it's something that you have available to you to alkalize your body and to bring down the inflammation that you're getting from whatever the source is. We're all subjected to this light environment, but it's a simple, effective thing that you can, put into action and to get the benefits from soda doping. You might want to check in, do your own research, but it's a very common, in integrative and functional medicine, we've known that forever.
Yeah, how much baking soda?
Half a teaspoon.
Okay.
Like people with gastrointestinal issues or like sour stomach or acid reflux, better than Tums,
Yeah.
soda doping.
Yeah.
Much, much better, yeah. Okay, yeah, I always tell people, whoever your primary care practitioner, whoever your primary care doctor or practitioner is, always, confer with them, right, regarding your health needs.
Like they're gonna really know, but you gotta say that.
Of course I have to say that. And it's your primary care, whoever that you trust, who your medical advisor is. The importance of organic, I think we already talked a little bit about how you want to eat food that's not man-made, but it's God-made food, the way it's closest to what it looked like when it came out from the earth, right?
Right.
Or it came out from the ocean, not something that was, they cross-cultured it with cockroaches and synthetic plastics and they're calling it a burrito, whatever, no, you want it, you want it to be natural, right? So, kind of goes without saying, things that are synthetic, plastics don't belong in our body. Yet there's all sorts of weird things that they put in food that, like Gatorade, people love to think, that's a great electrolyte drink.
No.
I go, just the dye that makes it
Right.
blue, red, green, or
Right.
that neon
Bad.
fluorescent yellow.
Yeah.
That is like poison, just the dye, let alone the other stuff that's in it. It's like, no, that's like one of the worst things, you don't want to be drinking that. So God-made, not man-made. What do you know about stem cells? Well, first of all, that synthetic stuff really does destroy a lot of cells in your body. It really does. A lot of it has high degrees of processed refined sugar, which parasites love. Parasites
Yeah.
love sugar. Interestingly enough, not only do parasites love, but cancer loves it too. Cancer feeds on sugar like nobody's business. We also have a lot of hidden sugar in a lot of what we eat. We don't think about pasta. Don't take my pasta or my rice away from me because I'm of Mediterranean descent, and the 21% that I have of Irish and Scottish, we love potatoes. So don't take my carbs away. I am not going to skip carbs, but carbs turn into sugar in the body. That doesn't mean don't eat it. It's how you eat it. So I'm going to give you a tip here. You don't have to change what you're eating if you're eating man-made foods, but how and the order in which you eat it can make all the difference in the world. You're like, oh my gosh, what a game changer. Keeps you from waking up in the middle of the night, having hot flashes, having heart palpitations. You just change your food order. So I'll tell you what that food order is in a bit. So bring lots of color. You see I've got this big red cherry tomato. I've got garlic. Garlic is a natural antibiotic. It's in the allium family.
Yeah.
Onions, I love red onions.
Yeah.
I think they taste better,
Yeah.
but whether you have red, white, or the brown onions, that is a wonderful detoxifier. Organic, of course, not Monsanto. You want to get it? That it's organic, okay? Natural antibiotic, natural detoxers. These two things right here, okay? So you want to have that as much as possible in your diet. You want to have as much color, and a lot of fast food is, I call it beige food, because it's all that beige, khaki, brownish color where it's like, the bun, the fries, everything on the plate is like very, like dirt color. It's like tan. It's beige food. You want a colorful plate where you've got like green asparagus and spinach. You've got the lighter green, that celadon color, and you want the darker leafy vegetables, which If it's a dark leafy vegetable like kale or spinach, that's got a high degree of not just calcium, way more than you can get from milk, but you also have polyphenols and chlorophyll, which is super fantastic for the body. So you want to have yellows, golds, reds, like sweet potatoes and beets. Notice how it's like all the different colors of the rainbow?
Yeah.
And then you can have the potatoes or the fries or the rice or the pasta or the quinoa. Quinoa's kind of up there because it actually has proteins. Pasta, rice, and potatoes don't. But quinoa does have protein. But those all turn into carbs in the body. And you do need carbs in the body, but we need it in a certain order so it doesn't cause a glucose spike in your bloodstream. So I'll share with you a little tip on what to do about that in a minute. So bring lots of color. The more colorful your plate is, the better. Foods that are alive, because when you have, the worst thing you can do is take your food and nuke it. You're literally nuking out anything that was of benefit when you put it in a microwave.
Yeah.
Don't put it in a microwave. You want your food to be alive. Because that's going to feed your cells. Your cells automatically adopt and absorb that right away, as opposed to going, If your body takes a synthetic in, a man-made food that's been cross-cultured with all sorts of weird, bizarre things, your body goes, well, this is sweet. It's supposed to be sugar, but it doesn't have the molecular structure of normal sugar. So, Harry, where do I put this? Turn it into a xenoestrogen. Instead of it being just purged from your body, now it's turned into xenoestrogens. Why do you hear of both men and women with abnormally high levels of estrogen? It's xenoestrogens because your body, if it doesn't know how to, it could be a pesticide that you're absorbing from your feet, from the grass, or it could be something that you ate, your body goes, it tastes like sugar, but it's not. The molecular structure is not sugar, it throws it into the xenoestrogen pile, and now you're like, not good. So that causes dysregulation of the body.
Yeah, Russia had outlawed microwaves.
Yeah, because it's bad for you.
Yeah.
It's super bad for you. You should not even, people say, well, I just use it to heat up water.
The
You
worst
want
thing.
live water. You don't
Yeah,
want
right,
dead water.
right,
Yeah.
right,
You can
right.
use it to store stuff in there. You could, if you've cooked hot food and you need to keep it warm because it's sealed, you could put it in there. Use it as a storage compartment, but
Yeah.
you don't want to actually nuke anything.
Right.
No. No. I mean, I melt candles in there, but that's about all I've ever used my microwave for. Once I learned the detriments of the microwave.
Yeah.
All right. So stem cells decline as we age. We're born with 23,688 genes and stem cells at conception. But by the time you're 30 years old, 50% of them turn off, not because they're damaged. They're not damaged, they're not destroyed. They haven't disappeared, they've simply gone dormant. They've gone to sleep until you apply a cell activation patch that looks like this. For every decade of life that you're alive past the age of 30, 40, 50, 60, more and more of these original master smart cells turn off, so that when you're 60 years of age, 90% of them turn off and you only have 10% left, which is what's going to take you all the way to the finish line. Whether you die at 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 115, doesn't matter. You have 10% remaining, which is why we age so much faster once we're north of 60, until you activate your body's original cells through cell activation patches. So the cell activation patches turn back on your previously dormant master smart cells, and it also helps increase your glutathione levels by elevating them. Whatever your original blueprint calls for, not what a research study shows is the recommended amount for the average person. No, this is based on your blueprint. The mother smart cell patch increases it by 30%, but the glutathione patch looks at your original DNA and it activates it, where it'll increase it anywhere from 300% to as high as 600% is what we measured in the double-blind placebo-controlled studies that we did both here in Europe, in America, Europe, as well as Asia. Okay? Alrighty, so moving on to the next one. We talked a little bit about understanding the detox pathways. It's through your kidneys, 15% of your detoxification through urination. 85% through your liver, right, through defecation, and then perspiration through the skin, and which is why detoxing through a detox bath is important, and doing, like I said, the Dr. Hilda Clark cleanse, et cetera, et cetera. So it involves various organs and systems in the body: kidney, liver, skin, your lymphatic system. Gotta keep that in mind, because your lymphatic system is, white blood cells and your limbs. Crucial roles in eliminating toxins. Your brain signals, again, the liver to make glutathione. That's your little manufacturing. The signal goes from brain to liver, and then it goes into your bloodstream, and then it gets spread everywhere. Your liver benefits from sunshine. So the Taoists have known this for 5,000 years. So like, people who do Tai Chi and Qigong and have trained with, and I've trained with a Shaolin monk and a Tai Chi master here in LA. And one of the things that I learned when I was doing that Tai Chi training is that when your eyes look at the blue sky, your liver benefits from that as you're facing in the direction of the sun, but looking at the blue sky. That blue hue is directly tied to your liver. And I thought, wow, they were so genius, They didn't have all the machines that we have that now we can confirm that. They've known that for 5,000-10,000 years.
Yeah, after you is on so you can
All right.
go a little bit
So
over
detoxification through the skin, we already talked about why, that's why it's so important to do detox bath. Also doing, saunas. When you're in a steam sauna, or you're doing anything that's putting extreme amount of heat, that's again putting a stressor on the body, but it's helping you detox from the center. How much time do we have?
Sadly, it's over.
It's over?
Yeah,
Okay.
and Angel's waiting to
Okay,
start his.
Make your wrapping
So,
up.
we are gonna wrap it up, we're just about done here anyhow. Yeah. So, the bottom line is, through activating your cells, especially when you're activating your original master smart cells, you are going to detox your body, because that's the natural process of your stem cells. You're going to increase your glutathione, your carnosine, and your eon levels. You create antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, and reverse aging properties. This is going to give you not only the benefit of deeper, sounder sleep, but it's also going to offset the effects of blue light toxicity. Okay? This is what the patch actually looks like. Every one of you that is in here, except I think you, Angel, has already been patched. If you guys, for those of you, I have a few of these left. Angel, I'm going to give you, did you get one of these? Okay. Angel, so that you have it also. I don't know if there's a key in there, but if there's a key, again, you guys get a special gift, and every one of you have been patched. The bottom line is that each patch is $5 a day. That's the retail. That's not even the special show price that we're going to be giving you today. You can call this number, whether you guys are seeing this on YouTube or if you're seeing here live. This number is not connected to a system, it's just my cell phone, okay? So give me at least 24 to 48 to get back to you. But then if you have the key, you just take a picture of the key and send it to me. You did get the key. It is the baby key. For our viewers, you guys, the viewers, you'd have to be here live in LA, but this is what the key looks like, okay? It's a little key because that's implying to you that the key to your health has to do with detoxification and the activation of your cells. So we're going to wrap it up. We're pretty much done here today. These are some pictures which, if you go to Love and Money Secrets TV, I have stories of transformation. I have 2 patients that came to me who were blind, who can now see. A lady who was given 3 weeks to live, needed a liver transplant. There wasn't enough time through my methods and through cellular activation. Like this woman. She had radiation therapy, less than 30 days. She went from this, because she had a form of the big C, from this, June 6th, not even 30 days. And she's definitely over 60. This would have taken months.
Cancer, in the organs, it still will work.
Your cells,
Doesn't have to
it's
be.
designed to repair and restore, so that disappears.
Okay.
Okay, alrighty. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. There's not much left. We don't have time to talk about this lady's brain scan, so we're gonna skip over this, but if you go to my YouTube channel, you can binge watch, or I have 30-second videos all the way up to 2.5 hour videos. Plenty of free education and training there so that you can learn, so that you're empowered. Yes, we have Olympic athletes and more. I'm gonna go to the end because we are done. And we have a show special, so just come see me. And again, text me and I will give you PDFs and links to the things that I shared with you today. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.